What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 10 out of Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all like y'all rocking with me. For this video, I'm going to be breaking down and speaking on my first fight in prison. Now, when I first went to prison, I was 18 years old. I was given a 36-month sentence. I went to the Central Florida Reception Center, and once I was there, I was given a red hat. I was classified as a youthful offender, which is more or less a classification inside of the Florida Department of Corrections from between the ages of 14 to 24 years old. We can be sent to adult prisons that have youth offender dorms. We can be sent to youth offender prisons. At the reception centers, if you're a YO, you're going to be housed inside of a youth offender dorm. And everybody knows about the YOs. They're notorious for the violence, for the gangs, for the extortion. It's off the chain, and in most cases, it's heard of as being way more violent than the adult prisons. Now at CFIC, the Central Florida Reception Center, the youth offender dorm is H dorm, hell dorm, hotel dorm, whatever you want to call it. And they used to have a saying between the officers, what happens in hotel dorm stays in hotel dorm. Pretty much meaning that they're not going to speak on all the ass whoopings that they give to the inmates. And it's well known throughout the Florida Department of Corrections, the YOs get beat. Majority of YOs do not have life sentences, but there are some youth offenders that have life or an insane amount of time, 20 years, 25 years, 35 years, etc. And all that happens is when they get too old for the youth offender prisons, also called the JIT camps, or they just catch a disciplinary report that snatches their YO, they're transferred to the adult side of a compound or to an adult compound. So when I first hit CFIC, I get put inside an H dorm. And there was 3 wings to H dorm. You had 1, 2, and 3. In 1, it was 18 and under. 2 was 19 to 20. And 3 was 21 to 24 years old. I was 18, so I went inside of 1. And it was a very intimidating feeling because before you walk in, it's all glass. You see everyone looking back at you. Damn near everybody that was in there was black. I really wasn't seeing any white faces. And the CO even went as far as giving me a warning before I went in. He told me something along the lines of, I'm not telling you what to do, but don't let anyone fuck with you and don't let anyone take your shit. And I was just like, damn, the CO gives you a warning before you get put inside of here? Like, I don't want to go in there, but I didn't have an option at the end of the day. So he takes me inside. Everyone's pretty much quiet because the CO was right here. And he yells out to, whoever's going to be in my cell. My bunkie stands up. He's a smaller white kid. And he has my bunkie take me to my cell and show me how to make my bunk. Once we're done with that, I had to do the 6-inch collar, cuffs on the corners, etc., etc. We go back downstairs. The CO leaves. And that's when people start talking to me. I get sat down at a table. Everyone's coming up to me talking, where you from, what you bang, da. The whole time I'm just begging for a TOH. I don't want to do all the talking. I'm already nervous. I'm already somewhat intimidated by everyone just being in front of me. I just want to get to the worst point, which is the violence. I want to get right to the fighting. I want to get right to the adrenaline and just get it over with, because the whole time in county, especially after finding out I was sentenced, I'm just hearing all these youth offender stories about how raw, how vicious, how insane and violent these things are going to be. And I just want to get right to it. I'm tired of thinking of it. I'm tired of overthinking it. I'm ready for it. And everything somewhat calmed down because I started speaking to the Bloods that was in there. Somebody from Tampa that was in there. I knew him, obviously, and we were in DJJ together. We were around the same neighborhood on the street. Shout out to Junebug. And everything was working out. You know what I mean? I knew so-and-so. I knew this. I was good in that sense, but I felt like something was missing, and that was the TOH. Where's the brutality? Where's the violence? So I was thinking in the back of my head, I must be getting crept. Like, it's just, where is it? Why hasn't it happened? This is too good to be true for me to just come in and nothing happens. And eventually we got to go inside of our cells. I get into my cell. It's tiny. It's covered in graffiti. From literally the ceilings, the walls, behind the door. Everything's just got different gangs, different hoods all throughout the state of Florida. Some people even mark down years so you can see different years that people was inside of this cell. And when you really first lay down on your bunk, you take it all in and you're like, you know, damn, I'm in here for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? And to me, I couldn't imagine it. My first day in, my first day going through everything, like I'm in a tiny ass burning hot cell like this for the next 3 years. And I went to prison in, I believe, March. So it was hot, like Florida always is. And the thing about CFIC is the windows just have grated holes. So when it's hot in the cell, you have to stay class A until after dinner time. So you got to have your whole uniform on, your pants, your shirt. You can't take it off and put shorts on. You're burning hot, you're sweating, and you just got to lay there. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to take this all in. I start talking to my bunkie. Now, my bunkie was a white boy, and I forget his name. All I remember about him is he was from the swamp. I don't know what hood that is. I believe it's Central Florida, might be near Orlando. But he was from the swamp, and there was another kid in a different wing who was named Swamp. He was from there too. That kid had like some of the biggest hands I've ever seen. Like, I never seen this kid fight, but I could just imagine he's gonna break some shit because his fists were like boxing gloves. You know what I'm saying? But there was 2 jits in there from the swamp. And I started talking to my bunkie. I'm like, how much time you got? He told me he got 15 years. At this point, I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I in the room with this kid? He's got 15 years. I got 3. Like, I'm thinking like, this is a life sentence. This man is crazy. He has nothing to lose at this point because we're 18 or he might even have been 17. I'm very green to a lot of things. You know what I mean? At this point, I'm very green to things. And 15 years to me sounds like, you know, you don't give a fuck about life. So I'm thinking to myself, like, I gotta watch this kid because he might be on some crazy shit or whatever. Like, I didn't want no pressure with this kid. I mean, he was a little bit shorter than me. He wasn't big. There was nothing to be intimidated by other than the fact that he had a lot of time for a young age and most likely didn't give a shit. And I didn't know what was going through his mind. So I just tried to, you know, throw a conversation out there and see what type of time he's on. See if this is somebody I gotta watch in my sleep, because even though it wasn't necessary, through everything that you hear, you feel that you need to have all these walls up and overprotect yourself through conversation, whatever, because the first way people are gonna get to you is mentally. And then when they see mentally you're weak, they're gonna come at you physically. Now they let out the cleanup crew. And the cleanup crew is just more or less the inmates that have been in there the longest, that got the most pull with the COs, and they get the sweep, mop, whatever. These are usually the ones that test people because they can get your door opened up and act like they're cleaning it when they really jump in there, beat the shit out of you, hit you with the broomstick, etc. And it just so happened that the cleanup crew was all bloods. There was a homie named KB. There was a homie named Bam from Orlando. He had a chipped tooth. He was in there for either shooting somebody or shooting at somebody. He had some type of shooting charge. I forget what it was, but he was from the O. It was just 2 Billies, and I forget about the third one. But they came right to my door, and I'm talking to my bunkie, and they bang on my door. I look, I jump up. I'm like, what's popping? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm ready because I'm expecting they're going to pop my door, and I'm going to have to fade all 3 of them, or whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So they like, what's up? You banging? Like, we already had this conversation. You know that. You know what I mean? But I'm all, yo, what's up? You know, I'm trying to puff my chest out a little piece. And this is a very big moment to me because this is my first fight. I gotta put on. I gotta really do something, because if I'm not accepted by my own people, then things are gonna get very bad because they're gonna have to make an example out of me. And I'm not just gonna get hit up on the house like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to go at it. But I also just got here, so I don't have my hands on a razor. I don't have my hands on a poker. I don't know what they got. So at this point, I'm nervous, but I'm ready to put on. I'm ready to get it over with. They tell me to fight my bunkie. I'm surprised in the moment, but I didn't think too long about it. I was just like, all right, well, you know what? This is what we're finna do. I told my bunkie to tighten up. My bunkie wasn't scared for nothing. He jumped right up. He took his shirt off. I beat the shit out of my bunkie. You know what I mean? Like, I was so ready to be punished because from what I heard in the TOH, it's not about winning. It's about how much pain you can take. That's what I was expecting. To get held down, to get jumped, to get stomped on. I wasn't expecting a one-on-one. So when I turned around to fight my bunkie, I just went to throwing them. It wasn't, I tried to, box them and lean back. I just went to throwing as many as I could, as hard as I could. And he balled up pretty quick. And I never got hit. I didn't get hit one time. And it wasn't a fair fight. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't my size. The comparison wasn't there. I was just doing what I was told. And I don't take anything away from it. I don't feel prideful of what I did. And I actually regret it. And I wish that I had more experience in situations like this because I shouldn't even have fought him. You know what I mean? Like, if y'all want to test me, y'all should fight me. I should fight one of y'all. I should fight somebody that is known for fighting. Even if I get whooped. Just to show that I'm going to get in there and show hot. I don't get cool points for fighting him. And I regret doing it. And we didn't have any problem after the fact. We shook up. We were cool and everything. He never had problems with anybody. I was cool with him. I forget his name. I wish I knew it because I know he's still down. He's still doing time. He got sentenced in 2012, went to prison in 2013. He got 15 years. He's still in there. You know what I mean? But I wanted to speak on this story because when people go to prison, not knowing what you're being thrown into, you're easily influenced because you want to do what you feel is right in the eyes of everybody else. Instead of going against the grain and doing what is right in your eyes. And even though that can come with severe consequence. I don't know if my brothers would have been like, oh, you want pressure with us? All right, we finna take it there. But I still could have stood on that and took it there with them. You know what I'm saying? Not that that's what I wanted. And I mean, we all got broke up anyways. KB got his face smashed off the wall inside of medical because he flirted with a nurse and got caught. Bam went to something CI. The Shine homie went to something CI. I did the interview with Chico Mike. He was one of the people that flipped both of them the second they got there. Jamaica was another homie that went there. The second they all got there, they got flipped by the Chicos and the Zoes. So we all got broke up and we didn't really get to, be around each other for that long. Jamaica, though, was there inside of B1. When I got to B1, Jamaica was the one that popped off and fired up the Zoe, put a bullet hole in his head, and then I got crashed by the other Zoe. So we were somewhat around each other. We got scattered, but I wanted to speak on it just because I truly regret it. And I wish that at the time I wasn't so easily influenced and I stood on principle more so than I stood on what the next man wants me to do. Because at that time, none of us were greater than the next. Nobody was really in there 18, 17, 16 years old with more rank than anyone else. But that's just how prison is. And the impressions that you make inside of prison are important to a certain extent. You want to build that reputation. But I feel that I could have went a better way about it, especially with my first fight. Because putting myself in the position of my bunkie, I don't know if I would have been cool with it. Your brothers just made you fight me and I just lost the fight. But at the same time, how do I know that he really lost the fight? Maybe he just didn't want to put on because he felt that there would have been a punishment if he did. What if I win and then I get jumped? What if I win and then I get cut? I'm a very prideful person, but I can accept when I don't get points for something that I did. And I can say when I feel something that I did was wrong. But I wanted to make this video because I wanted to point out how important an influence is. And at a young age, you need to choose who is a positive influence, not a negative, because you don't want to be 5 to 10 years down the line regretting who you looked up to, regretting who you listened to, regretting who you were influenced by. And in any decision, always try to make the right decision. If you have that feeling in your gut that you know it's wrong, don't do it. Because that same gut feeling that you get knowing something is wrong before you do it is the same feeling I had before I committed the armed burglary that got me sentenced to prison. But hey, it's 10 out of Jake. I'm rocking with y'all like y'all rocking with me. Till next time.